It's obvious that a certain amount of repetition tends to sway crowds. But there's a fatal flaw in this method. It only works if you lie consistently. If you begin by boldly proclaiming what you actually mean to do, and then later try to deny your intentions because they get in the way of your virtue signaling, the lie will not take hold in people's minds. The American left clearly doesn't know about this flaw, as we can see from the way they're praising the May 30th guilty verdict in Trump's Manhattan trial. Throughout Trump's 2016 campaign and all during his 4 years in office, leftist commentators engaged in endless fevered imaginings about how they were going to get Trump and punish him and his supporters so severely that a reformist presidential candidate would, quote, never happen again. So here's a little advice to the left. We the people remember. With perfect clarity, we recall what you said about total political revenge. And we have noticed how this malignant idea captured your collective imagination and became your shared obsession. Babbling about democracy and sacred institutions now, in the aftermath of the Trump verdict, makes you come across as lunatics. For example, the June 1st article on Politico, referring breathlessly to Alvin Bragg as this reluctant prosecutor, describing Bragg as a humble civil servant who at times seemed like a reluctant participant in the trial he launched. While campaigning, Alvin Bragg, like Letitia James and Fani Willis, promised to get Trump. To make good on his promises, he treated a rarely prosecuted misdemeanor as a felony and ignored the statute of limitations. As Jim Garotti in the National Review and other pundits on both the right and the left have pointed out, Garotti writes that the charge was, quote, a unique interpretation of an infrequently enforced statute that had never been used before, and for which the statute of limitations had expired. However, Garotti continues, quote, Bragg convinced the judge that Trump's time outside of the state, including his 4 years as president, didn't count. The day after the verdict, in addition to praising Alvin Bragg's stunning bravery, Politico also compiled reactions from mostly leftist academics who offered their take on what the verdict means for our country. Professor of history and journalism David Greenberg said of Trump that, quote, he now bears the permanent stain of being the first president convicted of a felony, quote, reaffirming that no one is above the law. He must mean no one named Trump is above the law. Biden has avoided prosecution for far, far worse crimes.